Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello dear learners, welcome to this online course on writing skills. I am Dr. Divya Gupta, an assistant professor at GLA University, Mathura. Today's topic is survey and questionnaire. My dear learners, have you ever heard about survey methodology or setting up any questionnaire for your research work? Many of you might have done the project work, minor, major. You might have done all those research works as well and might have written those articles as well, research articles, got them published in some reputed colleges, some reputed journals. Reputed journals may be sometimes SCI, sometimes Scopus, sometimes WOS category, then ESCI. So, if I am not right, my dear students, my dear learners, you people might have prepared at one point or the other these type of questionnaires. But there are some minute technicalities that one should follow. Since you all are in the primitive stage, or you can say the primary stage of learning and grasping, research is actually the most important point right now. If I talk about our Honorable Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, if I talk about him, what has he said just now? In our 15th August speech, he mentioned that Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, and then he added one more thing to it, Jai Anusandhan. What is that? It's research. My dear learners, if you won't go for research, you would certainly be left in isolation. You have to create your own research field. You have to create your own periphery where you will investigate, where you will research, where you will come up with some kind of hypothesis and then analysis of the same, you can say the features or the parameters that you have kept for that experiment. So, my dear learners, survey and questionnaire is actually step number 1 to it. Now, with this note, we move forward towards the learning part, that what are the learning outcomes of this particular lecture. So, let us initiate with Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan and Jai Anusandhan. So, with this note, we move forward towards the learning outcomes of our lecture, of this particular lecture, which you people will learn and grasp and absorb as well. So, now in this case, this is the final thing that you have to actually exhibit once you are there in any kind of company, in any kind of like firm or in any academia. You have to go on with research work, and this survey and questionnaire method is actually has become the you can say the basic foundation. It strengthens the roots. So, with this note, let me come up with the learning outcomes. You would be able to know the importance of these research instruments. Survey, method and questionnaire, they are considered as research instruments because you collect data, you acquire, gather information, and on the basis of that information you come to the conclusion. You analyze that situation, and after analyzing that you come to that conclusion that okay, my findings are this. So, remember my dear learners, it would be done like that. I will tell you how to make that questionnaire with a live example that I have conducted, and with that I will definitely tell you how to create the analytical part as well. So, my dear learners, you have to learn that what is actually the research instrument. These two research instruments are there for qualitative and quantitative research. Qualitative research deals with something that deals with open-ended questions, where the respondent, he talks about the likes, dislikes, whatever he has for future goals, or maybe any kind of like extra point that he would like to tell. So, this is for open-ended question. And second one is quantitative research, which deals with most of the time with close-ended questions. And in that condition, the answers would be asked in different levels. Maybe sometimes Likert scale is there, sometimes MCQs are there, various other options are also there. So, we learn one by one. Then you will learn the difference between survey and questionnaire. Many people think that survey and questionnaire, they are moreover similar. But no, my dear learners, it is entirely different. Although they both cooperate in the better research, but they are different from each other. Survey is entirely different from questionnaire. Questionnaire may not have the survey aspect, because it is an individual questionnaire which is sent to the respondent and they revert. Whereas in survey, obviously a questionnaire would be there, and along with that questionnaire you would be asked to give some open-ended and close-ended questions. So, that will be, we will come up with certain differences between survey and questionnaire. Further, you would be able to learn the limitations. Everything which is beneficial for you, it does not remain beneficial till the end, my dear learners. You have to understand that where are the limitations of this particular research work. Where does it stop working? So, of questionnaire and survey. So, these are the learning outcomes that you will always, or you will definitely be benefited with that. So, with this note, we move forward towards the content of our lecture. Now, in this contents, you would be able to learn the survey, role and procedure, how these surveys are conducted. So, in that condition, remember, there is a role, proper role of the investigator is there, who is conducting the survey, and from that role he moves from one place to different places to make a survey. You might have seen people coming to your houses taking the data of how many kids do you have, then how many modern appliances do you have, then further how many meters, how much watt meters is there. Then you get all those information, you include those information, you tell everything. This is all about census, and they conduct a survey and then they get to know about the current living standard. There likewise we also conduct the survey. I will give you few more examples like this. For example, like recently we conducted a survey, or World Health Organization conducted a survey on pro-poor tourism. Pro-poor tourism on, and there in India this conducted that survey, and in that survey they made their own committee members. They stood on every monument for 3 days, and then they collected data from there. They note down the shortcomings of those people, they were noting down the shortcomings of those that particular monument, and then which is how much expenditure is done on that. Several questions were there, and on the basis of that they have made a committee, and those committee members were standing everywhere. Like for 3 days it was conducted at Taj Mahal, and at 3 doors people were standing, and they were calculating how many people were entering at that time. How many kids are there? Then elderly people are there. So, there was a counting machine along with them. So, this is called survey methodology. And finally, that survey methodology, that particular whole thing went on like that, and they compiled the material, the data across the country. So, they covered this golden triangle in that condition. I hope you know this thing about India, which is the golden triangle. It is Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. So, monuments over there, and thereafter they covered this golden triangle along with different other cities and states along with that. So, this is what through that survey they concluded on that part, that whether it is again pro-poor tourism or not. So, with this note, like coming back to the point, I would like to come back to this understanding that, my dear learners, you should know that these things are very relevant nowadays. Without data, you cannot actually write any research work. Then you must know that what are the objectives of survey methodology and questionnaire. Then how to go on with hypothesis and research questions, everyone. So, research questions, I will tell you how to prepare that questionnaire for your convenience, and then development and types of questionnaire, which is very important. How will you develop the idea and how are you going to create that type of questions, the types of questions which are required for the survey methodology. Analysis, how that particular data was analyzed. So, everything will be there. You can definitely conduct a survey on roadside dwellers in your area, and you can talk about NGOs which are running for their help. So, these are something very relevant nowadays, and many people are conducting their surveys, and these surveys are very beneficial for management, for higher authorities, for governments, for government authority to actually implement any policy, betterment policy. So, these things are very important, my dear learners. Once you involve yourself in it, absorb, or we can say indulge yourself in this activity, you would certainly love it. So, and finally you will go on with limitations, that which are the limitations. That is for sure, you would certainly say that at some point it is not applicable. So, with this note we move forward towards the next part, that is survey role and procedure. Now, in this survey role and procedure, as if I told you that I gave you the example of the survey that was conducted at Taj Mahal. Same thing you can do on with anything, like suppose in the market, in any market area, suppose a new product has been launched, you can conduct a survey on that. And many companies, they conduct a survey, they ask questions from the consumers, and then they write down, they jot down the points, or they distribute some papers, some questionnaire to them and get them filled. So, these things are very important. So, let us come up with that thing. Survey involves content, methods and analysis. So, what is the content? You must prepare the questionnaire first of all. Which are the questions you are going to raise? The consumers, the objects, you can say, they are called objects with whom you interrogate, or you can say respondents, they are called respondents. So, you have to write down you have to just check with whom you are going to interact. So, list of people will be maintained first of all. So, you have to maintain the list of people. The way you conduct your survey defines the authenticity of the data, that is for sure. Without having any data, certainly your work is incomplete, and that would certainly show that it is fake. So, it will lend the authenticity, truthfulness, factual thing to your work, and obviously believe me, my dear learners, everyone would appreciate if you go on with real life survey methodology in your research work. then if someone is looking for feedback, then survey method is appropriate, that is for sure. If you are looking for any kind of feedbacks, then survey method is very nice. As if I told you, the company, suppose ABC company launched his product in the market. So that ABC company will certainly get the exposure and will certainly get how to improve his product, or what are the new strategies he can implement in the market to make it more familiar for everyone, right. So remember, direct feedback is very important, which you can get through survey methodology, right. So that, like, suppose if you have purchased any article through online process, at the end they ask you to fill up the feedback, isn't it? So at the end, when you fill that feedback form, that is a survey. That is an online survey which they are doing. So on the basis of your comments, your own response, they will decide how to implement, how to go further. Is that clear, everyone? Now in this case, what are the three elements of this particular survey methodology? There are three elements. What are these three elements? The first one is design. First of all, you will design your survey. It will be based on how are you going to approach the people, the respondents. So it must have the design. After designing, you must come up to the implementation of that. How are you going to implement that part in your research work? This is very important. Implementation of any idea is very important, right? Because you have already designed everything now. You have already planned everything. Now it's the time for you to understand and come back. And after collecting the data, you have to analyze it. You have to analyze it, maybe in the form of pie chart, in the form of graph, in the form of sometimes a smart art. You can use any way, any methodology like that. So this is very important, my dear learners. You must remember design, implement, and then analysis. Further, we move towards the next slide, that is, what are the objectives? What are the objectives of conducting a survey and questionnaire method? Like, if I talk about survey, you collect the data and you send that particular data, you analyze that data. There are many apps on your on Google at present which very easily go on with that analysis part. But physically you should know that how these things are done. Suppose if I prepare some kind of like data and I have calculated that there are many people who want this thing. Now how will I do? Tele method. So in that condition, my dear learners, you will just understand that suppose this is a point and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is the way of counting, my dear learners, right. So once you create any kind of questionnaire, any feedback, any survey, that data will be analyzed in a proper manner. Like suppose you get 12, then 13, then 16 and then 20 people consuming those products. So your graph will be like this, right? Number of people over here and products, okay. So x-axis and y-axis would be like that. So it is bit mathematical. But don't ever depend on technology all the time. You have to learn the basics before going on with any app, because you have to learn everything first of all, then only you can proceed. So now in this condition, what are the objectives? Survey can be done without revealing the identity of the respondent, which is very important. You would not be able to confess, you would not be able to confide well if your name would be revealed out. If suppose Dr. Divya Gupta's name would be revealed out, am I going to tell the reality of anything, of any system? Or am I going to tell you something about bad about anything? No. Because I am scared. It's a normal human being tendency. It's a normal human behavior. So, if the name is confidential, if the name is not revealed, what will happen? You people freely give the response, will definitely give the response. But if the name is revealed in that condition, we certainly, most of the time, people feel a little bit hesitant to reflect back or to confined. Within less time, more data may be collected, that is for sure. The first one is identity of the respondent is hidden, no identity, point number 1. Point number 2, less time and more data. So, remember, within less time we are acquiring more data through survey methodology and questionnaire. Then less chances of receiving biased answer. When A is getting it somewhere and B is getting it somewhere, C is getting it somewhere. So, what will happen? Each and every person will not be biased in giving the answer. Oh, whatever you have written, I am going to write the same answer. No, 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 it is not like that. It is their personal wish. So, it will be unbiased. Remember, my dear learners. So, this is the benefit. And objective as well. Online survey methods are prevalent nowadays. Online, because you might be getting the mails from the concerned authorities or from the researchers that please complete this questionnaire or fill this questionnaire, which is cost effective, time efficient and helps in quick analysis, that is for sure. Because that Google app, or you can say the Google form, automatically analyzes the whole thing, automatically analyzes the answers and research work. So, this is cost effective, time efficient and again quick in analysis. Then companies can be adapted to strengthen the image of the product. Yeah, companies can adapt this thing to actually strengthen the image of the product, that is for sure, which is very important. Research analysis can be done at large scale with historical data. Now, what is the thing? You can very easily collect the data. Once it is there with you, somewhere in your computer also you will find the previous data, the historical data which is uploaded on Google. You can compare those data together to come up with the perfect answer, perfect analysis of past and present. Understood, my dear learners? You should know that all these strategies are very much relevant nowadays if you really want to go on with research work, qualitative and quantitative both. Now, with this, you must remember that after receiving the questions, you can very easily segregate and analyze it by employing graphs, diagrams and bar chart. By graphs like this, right, bar graphs, something like that. I'm not that, yeah, my lines. So, these are the bar diagram, bar graphs that you can very easily denote, right. So, this is the way you can complete your work. So, this is the research analysis, x axis and y axis. Okay. So, this is bar chart, bar diagram, and through graphs also you can show this uprising fall or maybe sometimes like this rising graph. So, these are some ways to project to show the response of your research work in the analysis part, right. So, with this note we move forward towards the next part, that is development of questionnaire. Now, has anyone prepared any questionnaire till now, my dear learners? Questionnaire, it must have actually you can say many questions, but to that limit, because if there are good number of questions, then finally what happens? The respondent will feel monotonous, bored, tedious job to fill those questions, no matter they are open ended or close ended. But if the questions are limited, maybe 10 to 15 questions, then what will happen? The concerned person will read all the questions properly and answer them in a proper manner. So, questionnaires must be compact, must remain compact. Now, let us come up to how are they developed. Questions are collected, they are collected in a raw form, aggregated, and the response are analyzed from those questions. That is for sure, we have done it earlier as well. What we do? We collect all the information, gather them, aggregate them, and then analyze them. Then further, we keep the limited length of questions that I have told you, not more than 15 to 20 questions, 15 to 20 questions, because that will definitely give you the positive response, and person will be ready to give you or to send you the feedback, revert you. They would not run away from that fact that okay, I don't have that much time to fill up your form, so please excuse me for the same thing. So, what will happen? This since this particular feedback form will not be lengthy, so your reader or your respondent will certainly revert. And obviously, questions tend to have less response if there are more questions. Now, talking about the next part, if it consists of close ending questions or open ended questions. Now, what are close ended questions, my dear learners? Have you ever heard about questions are or interrogative sentences are of two types? Do you know? Okay, might not be having this idea. When I talk about what is your name, you will certainly say Ayush, Arnav or any other name, right? But when I say, are you happy? What will you say? Yes or no? So, there are two types of questions where you will either give the answer in yes and no, or you will give the detailed answer. You will speak a sentence in that condition. So, these are two types of questions. One is close ended, there is no scope of speaking more in that. Say yes, no, or tick some MCQs, or you can just give some pictures and just ask that person to tick that one, select any one which is better for you. So, now in this condition what will happen? There are two types of questions. One is yes, no category, and the other one is full answer. Now, what is the identification of this thing? WH question words. WH question words are question words will fall in these two categories. What is your name? What did you do? Right. So, in that condition, remember my dear learners, WH question words, they fall into these two categories. Either they give the answer in yes or no, or they give the answer in full answer, sort of like in a long passage. So, in that condition, close ended question is yes, no, and open ended question is full phrase, where it provides the liberty to all those respondents to respond and to just write down their feelings in their own words. So, this is what is close ending questions and open ended questions. Now, coming up to that part is close ending questions, they are MCQ, 5 options are given to you, you have to just put a tick mark. Sometimes dichotomous is again yes and no. The word appears to be very terrible or very difficult to learn, but this is like that, dichotomous. Then drop down, maybe some options are given to you and drop down menu will come to you and you have to just select any one out of that list, right. So, out of that list, suppose you have selected this one, so you have to just tick that one. And finally, you will have the rating scale choice. Rating scale choice is very relevant nowadays. that is Likert scale. For example, agree, strongly agree. Then you may write down less agree, or it will begin with strongly in favor, or it will move towards the fifth option, least interested, least interested, like that. I will give you a few more examples like that. So, strongly, then agree, then less agree, least agree. So, it will take on like that Likert scale. Ranking questions, then check boxes, etc. will be there. Then further we can talk about other options if I am not wrong. If questionnaire is sent through online medium, if this questionnaire, suppose like as if I told you, several mails are running nowadays for questionnaires, like email, sharing them, sharing link on Facebook or Instagram. In that condition what happens, people get idea and they can definitely at any point of time, no matter at maybe in the evening, maybe at night, late working hours, he can fill that form, he can fill that questionnaire. So, time liberty is there, word liberty is there, you can go on in any way in that condition. So, remember, collect the email ID of all the respondent. This is the first step that you must go on with. This is the first step, that collect the email ID if you really want to send them through online way. Okay. So, collect their email ID of the concerned respondent, and that is the reason I will definitely share with you in our later slides that I conducted a survey on multiple intelligences, and thereafter, like after sending them to the students, I found those data, that data, and we have and finally I analyzed that one. So, we will come up with that data and we will explain, I will explain you everything in that condition. So, this is how the questionnaire is developed, and now we will see the research questions. What are these research questions and how are they developed? Close ending questions are there. Now, in this close ending questions, remember my dear learners, if you are not going to talk about something, is like you should remember that close ending question, I have already explained you what are they. Open ended question, in our previous slide we have explained you. Now, you have to understand that which type of questions come in this category. So, close ending questions, say yes or no. Are you enjoying the government policies? Yes. Will you leave old job for new promotion? No. Should I convince him? No. He will definitely come back. Do you love to watch TV while doing maths? Yes. Have you ever resided in camps? Yes. Were you planning on becoming a doctor? Yes. Do you see a ray of hope now? Yes. So, all these questions clearly indicate that they are either yes or no. Close ended question, no scope of writing more. Now, coming up to the open ended question, these are the type of research questions we generally have. Now, in this condition, what motivates you? What motivates you? You are going to write a lengthy answer in that. My teacher, my professor, or my father, my mother, my grandmother, grandfather, could be anyone. Elucidate latest national education policy, again NEP. You will definitely come up with your detailed answer. So, this is open ended question. Now, who is your ideal? You will write down about your ideal, and then further you will talk about your future plans. You will jot down all your future plans like this very properly and write down the answer step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4 points, maybe in points. So, who is your ideal? I told you once again. Then what do you think about this product? Yes, you will definitely tell something. If there is negative opinion, you will tell like that. Negative opinion. If it is positive opinion, you will tell like that. So, my dear learners, this is an open-ended question where a lot of scope is there for writing. And what is your opinion about amendments, about the changes that has taken place? So, you will talk about your opinion in that condition, maybe the respondent's opinion you are asking about. So, these are the things, these are the type of questions that we generally have. Now, we move towards the types of questionnaire. In this condition, the types of questionnaire, we have structured questionnaire and unstructured questionnaire. These are two broader categories. In this case, structured questionnaire will have quantitative research. Quantitative means it will come up with data and with figures in numerical form. Sometimes in different graphs, and you can analyze them accordingly. So, quantitative research is comes in this structured questionnaire. Then close-ended questions would be there, that we have discussed in our previous slide, and then unstructured questionnaire. Second is unstructured, where you do not have that structure beforehand. You go door to door and you ask several questions and you culminate to some conclusion. You come to that conclusion. So, qualitative research open-ended question, because A will give the different answer, B will certainly give the different answer, C will also give the different answer. So, remember, this is very, very important. You must know what is the nitty-gritty things of that survey. Further, you must talk about telephonic this thing, questionnaire. You will ask the question, give a call to that person, respondent, and then you ask some questions. So, this is a kind of feedback that you ask from certain people. Now, in this condition, telephone questionnaire, that means you ask the question, suppose, am I speaking to Mr. so and so? The other party will say, yes, I am online, yes. Would you like to give me some answers related to HDFC bank processings? Are you satisfied with that? So, this is called survey methodology. And many people will certainly pick up the call, others will not. It is quite expensive. Time consuming, right? Time consuming as well. So, telephone questionnaires are quite time consuming, and you are not sure whether all the people will certainly give you the answer or not. They would certainly bang or just put their phone down. Then you must know that in-house questionnaire, door to door you will go. Door to door you will go to different places, and while visiting houses you will talk to them. And thereafter they will certainly, what would they do? They will respond back. Either they will fill the form, fill that questionnaire which you have taken along with you, or you can ask relevant questions from them. Then mail questionnaire, that is online. That is online questionnaire, which is very important. Okay, understood, my dear learners? So, these are the types of questionnaires that you can prepare and you can conduct the research on that field. So, with this note, we move forward towards hypothesis and analysis. Now, this is a live example that I have conducted, and the survey, basically by sending the questionnaire to all the students out there. This is the form. This was the questionnaire, you can say, and on the basis of this questionnaire, people responded, students responded. So, it was their age, then their age, course and year to which they belong, then stream and dream. So, if it is BTech, then stream CS, BTech first year, then age 18, Arnav, Goswami, sounds very Yeah, sounds very known to you. Yeah. So, dream, what is that? To be the, or you can say to become an entrepreneur, right. So, you can write down, or you can say to join Google, to join Google, right. So, suppose these are the things. Now, further look at the questions given below and answer them on the basis of your personal observations. Now, these are the questionnaire, these are the questions that I have made, and in this condition, linguistic intelligence, it was all about multiple intelligences. So, it was a survey that it was a questionnaire that I sent to the students. Linguistic intelligences, I like reading books. So, this is Likert scale that I have used over here: always, often, sometimes, seldom, never. People selected, students selected only one answer out of it. So, I like reading books, many of them selected seldom. I listen to podcasts to learn about new things, often. Then further, I enjoy gaming apps like word spaces, alphabear, type shifts, 4 letters, black bar, words with friends, words connect. So, I enjoy gaming these apps. So, what will this answer would be? Always. Suppose like I am just coming out with the probable answers, but I am not sure whether these people have written the same thing or not. I will definitely share with you the answers as well. I like talking on live videos on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, etc. Live videos sometimes, since they are BTech students. I like playing driving games like reading the billboards and signboards, etc. Yes, often. I like writing blogs, Facebook walls, journals, Twitter, sometimes. Many students say always. Then if I talk about mathematical intelligence, let us talk about those questions which deals with mathematical inclination. I enjoy playing games involving brain teasers on my mobile phone or PC that requires logical thinking, often. Move up to the next slide. This is actually, if I am not wrong, my dear learners, you are able to see it very properly. Look at them, and this is actually giving you the details. Can you see this thing on the top of it? Time stamp. Then further you can say Ankit Singh, 19 is the age, BTech second year mechanical. Dream, don't know. Many people have written aeronautics. Some become often. Then government job, Air Force. Then electronic survey, e-software. So many people gave different answers. And then we read all the questions, my dear learners. Do you remember now? On the basis of that, seldom. Some gave the answer, some never. I like mimicry, yay, often. Never, often, often. So, this is the whole record of their performance, and that was done on an Excel sheet. That was done on Excel sheet. So, this is what you should remember, that whenever you prepare that particular questionnaire, it must have some kind of connectivity, and automatically Google will, because you are sending the Google form, and if they fill that Google form will automatically analyze everything, and after analysis it will come up for the answers with the analytical aspect, coming up with hypothetical situations, coming up with all those analytical and summary findings of your research. So, this is what we actually found later on. All the students, they mentioned their name, Jessica, Nidhi Pathak, Anju. So, it is like that, Arpit Tiwari. They mentioned all these answers and they are of different streams. My dear learners, please notify this thing, BA LLB also. So, now moving up to the next slide, there are certainly 4 slides because there were many students who answered to that form. It was sent through mail. Okay. So, the whole thing went on online platform, and this is the relevant issue, this is the relevant topic nowadays, that if you know something about technology, you are the king, and if you lag behind, definitely those things are not valid enough. Now, look at this, BSc Agricultural Maths, then BSc Agricultural students, it was sent to all the students across the university. So, all of them, many students participated in that, most of them want to IPS officer, then being successful, IES exam, clear it, developer, Air Force, look at their dreams, beautiful dreams. And after this thing, on the basis of this thing, we came up with multiple intelligences testing, that which type of teaching pedagogy can be used for these students. Okay. So, this is how survey and research methodology helped us in a way for any researcher, no matter it is for it is related to our teaching aspects, but we can definitely conduct it. As I told you, for roadside dwellers, you can talk about, you can conduct a research work and questionnaire method in your scientific field as well. You may conduct a survey, you can conduct a questionnaire, prepare a questionnaire on that, and then you can definitely conduct it accordingly. These are the details. So, these are the further magistrate, lawyer, judge, BCom LLB, LLB students, then BTech CS mechanical, agricultural, all the students combined together, they note down their names as well, Diksha, right. So, these are the things, you will get the response like that. Be ready with all these things. And now, how are you going to do it? These are further things, and then further, once you have done all these things, you will accumulate the data. As if I told you, I showed you everything, that data is very much like it has the credibility, it has the validity. But the point is that you should know how to utilize that data in a positive manner. Understood? For example, it must have the limitations also. When you analyze this data, you come up with your findings. You are not supposed to reveal this private data to anyone else in that condition. Clear? Then you talk about limitations. And while talking about limitations, there are some kind of restrictions where people suffer. Because like when I talk about questionnaire, if the questionnaire is on social media platform, people won't confined. Am I right? If it is available on website, if it is available on Facebook, if it is available on Instagram, if link is there, you will press that link and what will happen? The whole form will open up in front of you and anyone and everyone can definitely go through it. So, what will happen? This thing will certainly is not feasible. So, people will not confine, they would not express themselves freely. Clear, understood everyone? Then sometimes respondents can easily ignore these questionnaires. Sometimes people think that okay, these questionnaires are irrelevant, I can ignore them. But if you send it physically, you can go to any room and anybody's house and ask that person that please fill this form, then that person will certainly not deny, right. So, in that condition, remember that sometimes respondents, they feel that they can ignore this mail. For males, obviously, you can definitely ignore that one. ignore those questionnaires, very true, right. So, this is very important and these are the limitations of questionnaire methodology, whereas survey is the direct method where you get the feedback. Survey, you get the feedback very quickly. Okay, you need not to wait or you need not wait for any kind of response, automatically you get the result. So, now further after limitations we move towards difference between questionnaire and survey. I have been speaking, I have been telling you all the things about survey and questionnaire, right. Now, what are the differences between them and how and where are you going to apply that knowledge is important. When I talk about questionnaire and survey, there are basic differences between them. Now, which are their difference? Look at them. Questionnaire is an instrument of research, that is for sure. They both incorporate in the finest form of research work, which includes a set of questions to gather information. To gather information, you only gather information through this questionnaire, am I right? But if you talk about survey, it is an instrument of research for collecting data from the definite group of respondents to acquire information. So, both of them they acquire information from the specific group, definite group. Second, it is a medium of data collection. It will definitely go on with collection and analytical part of the data as well, right. Questionnaire is related to collection of data only and survey will definitely come up with analysis of that data. Now, it is a subset of survey, whereas questionnaire, it includes questionnaire, survey designs and logics. So, logical arrangement is also fixed up in this, right my dear learners. You should know that survey design is also conducted, is also there. Then logics is also there. Then quick or less expensive, obviously questionnaire is very quick if you send it through mail, anybody will give you the answer, and it is less expensive. You do not have to spend too much. If you have a data, you can send it to multiple people, to thousands of people at a time. And on the contrary, if it is a slow, if it is a survey method, it is bit slow, but and along with that more expensive. You need to spend a lot if you want to conduct a survey. So, and on the other hand, questionnaire will be targeted to a targeted audience, will be meant for the targeted audience and performed, but whereas survey is performed on respondents. Then obviously questionnaire will have close ended questions, sometimes open ended. Only out of, suppose if I say there are 15 questions, out of 15 questions you will have two categories, you will have 12 questions and 3 questions. 3 open ended, 3 will be open ended and 12 will be close ended. Is that clear my dear learners? So, like that. And whereas over here both close ended and open ended questions are there, maybe in equilibrium, So, it is not a big deal that there is something like that, but over here dominant questions are close ended in questionnaire. Now, talking about approach, over here in questionnaire the approach is objective, you have to keep yourself aside. Who are you? You are the third person, objective. Whereas when we talk about survey method, you have to be either subjective and objective. Clear? Subjective, you have to include yourself in that, and objective, sometimes you have to come up with some kind of idea where you have to keep yourself aloof. So, these are the basic differences between questionnaire and survey. Now, with this note we move forward towards the conclusion of our questionnaire and survey methodology. My dear learners, when I talk about the questionnaire and survey, it is all about research, it is all about anusandhan, It is all about your curiosity to come up with something new. Now, if you have that curiosity or if you have that kind of instinct to come up with something new, that means you are wonderful, your future is secured, and believe me, these questionnaires and survey method, if you have learnt them well, then this is the basic reason, this is the basic route where you will flourish if you can hone your skill like this. So, at the end I would like to tell you, my dear learners, that this is a perfect combination of intellect, of sharing personal feelings and emotions, and brain and you can say brain and heart. So, let us come up to that conclusion part. A questionnaire is a simple first step towards becoming more self-aware. It is the first and foremost step towards it. So, Nick Morgan said this thing, and survey shows that survey never lies, that is for sure. Any survey can definitely tell you that it never gives the fake data. Whatever is there will be true, and that data will be taken into consideration when you go on research work. So, with this note, you remember, my dear learners, you have learnt the difference between survey and questionnaire. You have learnt how to prepare the questionnaire with the help of Likert scale, with the help of close-ended and open-ended questions. You have learnt how to conduct a survey at various places, maybe as a customer, maybe as the head of the management team or HR team, maybe sometimes talking about the area, social issues, talking about the social issues with the general public. So, it will be related to that. And finally, you have learned the importance of these researches in your life, because without research, obviously, my dear learners, have you seen a stagnated water? Stagnated water is never ever appreciated because it gives birth to several diseases. And if you won't learn more, what will happen? You will certainly get staled. You will certainly start, what will you start? You will start rotting up. So, I do not want my learners to go in that kind of bitter situation. You have to go on with research work, and this is the basic route that you can go on with. And this is how, my dear learners, I am Dr. Divya Gupta from GLA University, signing off for now, and these are the references that I have referred to. This is Questionnaire, Designing for a Survey, Journal of Indian Orthodontic Society. Then I have taken reference from traditional survey and questionnaire platforms. Further, the web questionnaire challenge to survey methodologist. Then I have taken references from survey questionnaire constructions, questionnaire design, how to plan, structure and write survey materials for effective market research, that I told you about customers. I hope you remember this thing. This is what the most important part of our learning. Thank you for now, and have a good day. Keep on researching, learning, speaking, writing, reading, because they are very important. Clear, everyone? My dear learners, this is the golden opportunity of honing your writing skills, and without research your writing skills would not be appreciated and would not reach to the masses. Okay? So, at some place, at some stage, you can refer to your professors and go on with research, whether it is qualitative or quantitative. And welcome to those, you can say, the arena or the under the aegis of professors. You can definitely conduct a research and get your papers published in SCI, Scopus, ESCI, WOS index journals. So, welcome to the new world, my dear learners. Thank you for now. Thank you. I am Dr. Divya Gupta, signing off for now. Thank you.